Well, in our first story tonight, the Institute of Economic Affairs has expressed worry about the over-concentration of expenditure on consumption, as well as the country's low tax revenue to gross domestic product, a situation it believes will constrain the economy to a low-growth trajectory and slow development going forward. It's therefore calling for efforts to raise revenue by plugging the numerous loopholes in the tax system, as well as serious expenditure rationalization by curtailing recurrent expenditure or consumption to create space for more investment expenditure. There is more in this report.
The policy think tank said the 2021 budget and the mid-year review face a difficult task of responding to the health and economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic while restoring the country to economic growth. Recurrent expenditure in 2021 was estimated at 109.9 billion cedis, and that mainly went into salaries and interest payments, while capital expenditure was estimated at only 17.6 billion cedis. The IEA said revenue mobilization still remains a serious challenge in Ghana, but this problem is not totally unsurmountable. It therefore wants things to be done differently. Dr. John Kwachi is the Director of Research at the IEA and has been commenting on the mid-year review of the 2021 budget.
Tax fraud and corruption abounds in this country, and is perpetrated by the tax officials themselves. They connive with the taxpayer and pocket the money for their, personal use. And then, of course, all the inefficiencies in tax administration, collection delays, you don't cover inadequate taxpayer coverage, high collection costs, they all cost money. So I've listed these things because the point being made here is that, in fact, people have estimated that if we were to plug all these loopholes, you can add another 10% of our GDP to the taxes we collect. We collect 12%, 12.7 as you heard. So we can even add 10% to it. And that would take us to at least 20. The middle income average is 25. But if we were collecting 20, we would say that, at least we are close enough to it.
The country's fiscal or financing gap has also been a subject of debate between the government and the opposition. As such, the IEA wants a clear classification of whether the energy and financial costs are part of fiscal deficit, adding fiscal transparency and credibility require that these costs are properly accounted for. Dr. John Kwachi again.
You have to streamline the entire public sector. Do depend on the payroll. Now, this is something that the corporate sector reforms. It's been there, for forever. They say, we'll do public sector reforms. Sometimes they'll create a whole ministry for it. Nothing is done. So, of course, if you are in the civil service and they say your pay is going to be increased by 4%, you will not take it. Why should I take 4% when Article 71 office holders are getting 50% or something increase? So how do you solve the problem? So what we are saying is that there's a need to streamline our expenditure across all sectors, so that we can devote a lot more to capital expenditure, because that's lacking and it is stifling our growth.
Despite the impact of COVID-19, the Ghanaian economy grew by 0.4% and was among few countries globally that registered a positive growth rate. However, its financing gap went up by more than 12% of GDP last year.